Public Servants Management Amendment Bill passed. Disharmony among non-parliamentary members of Pangu. And 3 new cases of Delta variant detected.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Wednesday's news. There are fractures within the Pangu Party non-parliamentary wing, with several provincial and regional heads jolting to remove the current national executives. The concerned provincial members claim there hasn't been a national convention in the last 8 years, and the current executives are delaying party preparations for the next election. However, party president Patrick Pundao said several of the members concerned were suspended and shouldn't be commenting about party matters.
The Pangu men from 5 provinces and 2 regions, Southern and Momase, fronted the media over concerns they have for the national executives of the ruling party.
When we have an executive, the non-parliamentary, not cooperating with us, not communicating with us, and they don't know their job, it will make our job in the provinces as provincial executives very difficult. We understand that they have been in the office for the last 8 years. And by law, they have overstayed their term of office.
Our aim here is convention. And our aim here is to put the party straight. I know we have some inside house which we have problem in it.
The Pangu party executives, when contacted over the phone, say several of the provincial heads were suspended and weren't supposed to comment on party matters.
Not one person suspended them. It was a council made a collective decision to suspend them. In the case of Milan Bay and Gulf, they were suspended the second time. So first time they were suspended was in 2015, 16. They were reinstated with instructions to comply to set rules and guidelines of the party.
I'm not calling upon the national executives to have my colleagues reinstated so that they can attend the national convention and have the people's voice heard in the convention.
The provincial party executives say they have no grudges against the Prime Minister and the parliamentary wing. They only want what is best for the party before the next general election next year.
Maybe here they are prepared for it, but at the branch level we are not even prepared for the elections. So our appeal now is, regardless of what, we want the convention next week.
The national executive in their position have abused their positions and have made unpopular decisions, and that we feel that they must go.
The non-parliamentary wing of any political party is important as it does all the groundworks for the party and candidates at elections. Bradley Valenaki, National EMTV News.
Since the Delta strain of COVID-19 was detected in Madang, authorities have witnessed an increasing number of respiratory-like illnesses. Dr. Gideon Gelesi says this trend has been reported in all the districts of Madang. However, health authorities are yet to confirm through testing that these are indeed positive cases of COVID.
Dr. Gelesi says Madang has reported 1 case of Delta variant and all parties must work together to support the Provincial Health Authority in the event that there is an outbreak. He adds all partners must provide the support needed for the provincial hospital to function. Dr. Gelesi further states that there might be others in the community who may have the virus through community transmission but are not showing symptoms.
We need to strengthen the capacity for testing to identify the cases, but at the same time, look forward to what is ahead of us.
Dr. Galacy is also appealing to health workers and other frontline agencies, including the community, to be vaccinated.
I think for us as a community, we need to work as a team to support our hospital, the health workers, and everybody involved in the COVID response in the province. We've got good vaccines that are coming in. We've got business houses that are helping to drive the economy in Madang. We need to protect these people also. So it's a community responsibility, and I would like to appeal to the population in Madang to support the response. If you need help in the vaccines, please talk to our health workers. We have advocates to support. We need you to come forward and to receive your vaccine as a protection for the province going forward.
Dr. Galacy says more testing will help the team to identify if there are new cases of Delta variant.
I believe that we haven't done enough testing in the province. I believe that we haven't done enough swabbing to identify the cases. And there are people that are coming to the hospital sick, and maybe the case has been underreported. So it's an appeal to the leaders of this province. It is an appeal to the business houses in this province. With the support from our disciplinary forces, support from the PPC and the provincial COVID response team, we need to work together as a team. We don't want to have a lockdown. We don't want to have our kids missing schools. We don't want things to go out of hand. So my appeal to the province, to the community, to the provincial leaders, the community, is to stand together.
Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Madang.
The number of Delta variant cases increases to 12, with 3 new cases detected in Kiunga Western Province. Dr. Esaram, Deputy Controller of the PNG National Control Center for COVID-19, says this calls for an upscale of testing and vaccination in the province. He made the announcement during a virtual media conference yesterday.
Papua New Guinea's National Control Center for COVID-19 announced 3 new Delta variant cases detected in Western Province.
We received this information a few days ago on the 3 cases. These were detected during workplace routine swabbing. 2 out of the 3 residents from Kiunga, Western Province. 2 of them have been vaccinated, and they have received the first dose, just the first dose.
The cases were detected in the community through outreach programs by the Oktedi Development Foundation. The 3 new cases are all male, aged 25, 37 and 44, all tested between the 22nd of July through to the 6th of August. Deputy Controller for the National Control Center for COVID-19 says this calls for an upscale in testing and vaccination in the province. As per NCC's records, a total of 12,819 COVID tests have already been conducted in the province, with a population of 201,351.
At the moment, we are in touch with our team in Oktedi and also Western Province to continue on the contact tracing, but most importantly, to roll out and scale up the vaccination program, not only in North Fly, but also in Western Province as a whole.
Having Western Province situated at the border, authorities are verifying whether the strain detected is linked to the one across the border in Indonesia, where over 17,000 COVID-19 cases have been recorded to date.
We've now sent the samples over, and we requested our lab in Melbourne to do the genomic analysis, phylogenetic analysis to confirm whether the strain that was detected in Western Province, especially in Kiunga, are related to the strain across the border in Indonesia. We are of the view there's a local transmission in Kiunga and the North Fly generally. So we are in touch with our team at the Western Province PHA and also Oktedi Mine.
NCC will deploy a team this week to Western Province to assist the Provincial Health Authority and OTML in monitoring the situation. Dr. Ezram stated that while the index case from the Grand Tajima remains serious, the rest are classified as being mild to moderate. Kilawani National MTV News.
Dr. Downey Esram has raised concerns on the reduced rate of COVID testing that is currently being conducted in the country. He says provincial health authorities and health facilities have to play their part in conducting COVID testing as they have already been equipped with the testing kits.
Deputy Controller for the National Control Center for COVID-19, Dr. Downey Ezram, is concerned that COVID testing in the country has dropped dramatically since early this year. He says this is due to provincial health authorities and health facilities not doing their part.
We are not doing too well with testing. Testing is actually reduced since I would say March. Onus now is on the health facilities and the provincial health authorities. They need to do more testing. They need to screen everybody that comes into a health facility with the influenza-like illness, with the respiratory illness, when you've got pneumonia, when you've got TB, please, they need to be swabbed. If we are not careful, if we swab these people, they're just going to spread the infection in the community, and the vulnerable sections of our communities or our villages who are people living with existing medical conditions, old people, they are more vulnerable. And if they are not vaccinated, and if the disease spreads in the community, they stand the risk of dying, unfortunately.
Today, the National Control Center for COVID-19 presented that 150,870 COVID tests have been conducted in the country.
We need to do a lot more testing. 150,000 for a population of over 8 million is just very low. If you have a low level of testing and you have a high uptake of detection of positive cases, which at the moment stands at 12%, and you have a large pool of unvaccinated people, that is a recipe for a major spread of the Delta variant.
Dr. Ezram, during the virtual conference, stated recent data collected from provincial health authorities, particularly Medang and NCD, indicated anecdotal evidence of an increase in deaths. He says this may give indication of the spread in the community.
Number of deaths or people coming in with an unknown cause of death is a serious concern for us, especially in the era of the Delta variant spreading in the country. We should be able to confirm this in the next few days. We've requested Medang Modulon Hospital to give us an update of the number of deaths from January till this month. Likewise, Patmos Regional Hospital. There's a lot of people now dying. So we've given a directive to Medang and also PMJs to swab the corpse. It's very important that we know the cause of death of these people. That's also another proxy measure to guide us as to what the spread is like in the community.
The Deputy Controller warns if people are not vaccinated, there is an imminent threat of an outbreak.
We went through this between February and May during the big surge. And I can tell you, honestly, that if we do have a Delta case surge in the country, we will not be able to handle it. But most importantly, whilst we are predicting a surge, we need to get people vaccinated.
Kilawani National MTV News.
The recent incentive by Stop and Shop under CPL and WR Carpenters awarding vaccinated customers the chance to win a vehicle has caused quite a stir. Dr. Downey Esram, a Deputy Controller of the National Control Center for COVID-19, says while the promotion raised questions on the government's approach to vaccination, their stance remains that vaccination is not mandatory. He, however, encouraged companies in the private sector to promote testing and vaccination in their workplaces.
We, as we keep saying, and the Prime Minister kept saying, and NCC kept saying, that the policy of vaccination in the country is optional. Okay, but if you see companies, it's part of their occupational health and safety in the workplace. You just imagine if companies have a lot of infected people and their workers stay out of work, you know what that will have, the impact that will have on their businesses. So we strongly encourage the private sector and businesses to first and foremost to get their staff tested, but we also encourage vaccination. As I said, the policy is optional, but it's very important that workplaces needs to be safe for everybody. Let me just say this, nobody has any right to infect other people. We have a collective, ethics to protect everybody in the workplace. But if anybody is not vaccinated and you infect people, it's definitely going to affect businesses. So yes, businesses have taken it upon themselves to ride on the government initiative to get staff vaccinated. But as I kept saying, it's optional. And from what I understand, in that promotion, you only part of the promotion if you can show your card and show that you're fully vaccinated.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more stories when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The Public Services Management Amendment Bill 2021 was passed in Parliament today with 81 MPs going for the bill whilst 8 went against it. During debating of the bill, both sides of the House had opposing views at certain times, with the Prime Minister and his government MPs explaining the reason for introducing the bill. MPs including Esa Ala MP, David Stephen and ECP Governor Alan Bird expressed opposition toward the bill.
The Public Services Management Amendment Bill 2021 was tabled in Parliament today by the Minister for Public Service, Joe Sungi. This was to amend the Public Services Management Act of 1995, which is to come into operation 12 months before the issue of writs for 2027 national general elections and to come into effect upon certification. Prior to the bill being passed with 81 ayes and 8 noes, both sides of the House expressed their views on it. Minister for National Planning and Monitoring, Rainbow Paita, explained that the bill is to create a fair playing field for anyone wanting to contest the elections.
We are not trying to protect anyone in this House. I'm sure all these gentlemen in this are all prepared to go into the floor of elections come 2022. The intention or the idea of this bill that a good public service minister is trying to present is to create an equal playing field for everyone, not just for our sitting members, but everyone who wants to stand for election. That everyone must go to the floor, go to the people in 2022 with an equal playing field, not abusing public resources to go and stand.
The Prime Minister said it is to avoid having public servants going in and out of the public service system in contesting for the national general elections with conflicts of interest.
What we're simply trying to do here is eliminate professional candidates in the public service. Professional candidates in the public service who just go in and out at will, coming back and they work and they stay in the system, and sometimes they get in the way of the public service flowing with work because they have an interest somewhere in politics.
A few MPs who opposed the bill tried to explain their reasons.
I rise to express an opposing view for 2 reasons. First of all, I'd like to put it on the record that I do not support a view or an amendment or any law that would unfairly and unreasonably restrict the right of our people from standing for elective office. I say this taking into account that our people's right to choose a leader may be restricted in this kind of legislation. When our people go to vote, they want the best range of candidates, and in many cases, this includes highly educated, well-regarded public servants.
All of us members of parliament actually have an interest in this bill. which means that we are biased in this decision-making process. If we were sitting on a board in a private organization, they would ask us to leave the room so the decision could be made without us, Mr. Speaker. So the principle is actually wrong in us trying to pass a bill like this that would protect our positions. And that's the way the public would see it, Mr. Speaker.
As part of the amendment, the period required prior to the national general elections for public servants to resign from their posts and contest the national elections was changed from 6 months to 12 months. Also, the allowed time for public servants to reapply to the public service after contesting a national general election will be 5 years. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
Treasurer Ian Ling-Starkey has been put in the hot seat today, having to provide government responses to various concerns relating to the national economy.
From questions relating to bank regulations, preventing local farmers from banking money above the value of 5,000 kina, to delays in printing government checks, and an action plan by the reigning government to rescue the national economy. The questions came one after another, beginning with what the Marape-led government's action plan is to rescue the local economy that has seen firsthand the negative impacts of COVID-19 that is forcing businesses to close down.
Most people and businesses have shut down. The SMEs are affected as a direct result of COVID-19, but not government policy. But it would be good to help them if the government has a clear way forward.
We on this side of the House, the Marape-Basel government, have an honest and realistic plan to grow the economy. But it hasn't been easy with disruptive and constant power-hungry votes of no confidence and court challenges to our legitimate and well-designed national budget.
While providing a detailed response, the Treasurer was interrupted through a point of order by Abau MP Dr. Pukatemu, who insisted the Treasurer gets to the point.
Can he answer that question and later he'll make a statement at a later time?
It's complicated and we need to give the facts, Mr. Speaker. It's really, really important, and there is really no shortcut to providing a really good economic plan.
To concerns in the provincial towns, East Zipi Governor Alan Bed brought forth what most local cash crop farmers experience when going to the banks.
Why are the banks penalizing our small people who are really trying their best, and particularly in these last 2 years of COVID-19 where people are really struggling to put food on the table? Why are the banks doing this? My third question, Mr. Speaker, is that who made this decision?
Each of these institutions are making their own regulations, and this is one of the problems. How do we make it easier for our people to bank their checks? I need the cooperation, the full cooperation of the Bank of Papua New Guinea. I need the full cooperation of the commercial banks. I will continue to holding meetings with them. My patience is running very, very short. If they don't make decisions in the near future to ensure that our guidelines set to them are followed, we in government may be forced to make the decision for them.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Number One Super Limited has denied claims made by settlers at Buswara over at 9 Mile in the nation's capital. The settlers claim Number One Super has no legal documents to remove them from the land they currently settle on. Number One Super says the land portions were gained through prolonged legal and bureaucratic battles to secure the site. NSL Chairman Raj Monagi says it is the fund's goal to develop the site to provide affordable housing.
Number One Super Limited confirmed that early this week, company officers went to the site not to evict the settlers, but to draw out demarcation lines. According to NSL Chairman Reg Monagi, 3 months awareness was carried out to ensure the residents would fully understand the fund's intentions.
So our approach is different from the way other people approach or other organizations approach it. So we're doing it in a humane manner because we know those people out there, and some of our relatives live there too.
In a news conference today, NSL Director Richard Sinamoy clarified that the project manager was given 3 months to find an amicable solution, which included negotiations with the Lands Department and NCDC to find alternate lands to do a swap. However, the objective was not achieved within the 3 months.
I think it should be made clear that the project manager was not tasked to develop the land. The project manager was tasked to find a win-win solution within that 3 months. All right, now that has lapsed, and now we've got another engagement with the project manager to assist with the relocation, and that is why we're setting up camp. Unfortunately, in that 3 months, we have not been able to achieve that task. So that is where the 3 months ended for the project manager, in which time we went about to reappoint the project manager and now look at the next win-win solution, which is a relocation of the squatters that are there.
The settlers are refusing to be evicted from the land belonging to NSL, saying they are ready to discuss the matter with stakeholders.
Adhering to that, and we were waiting for the outcome of what he said, which he said there would be a memorandum of understanding between the NCDC Commission and the NSL with us as the third party.
NSL Chairman Reg Monagi says the portions of land belong to 200,000 Papua New Guineans who are members of Number 1 Super.
And they are, our nurses, our doctors, our policemen and women, CIS officers, teachers, all throughout the country. And it's a trustees board's mandate to ensure that their assets are protected and grown, so that when they retire, they get a little bit more than what they've saved.
Podivai, National EMTV News.
A key witness in the ongoing investigations into cases of visa fraud in Port Moresby was located in Lae by immigration and police officers last weekend. This follows a random spot check operation in the city where 13 foreigners were charged for various breaches on their visas. They paid a penalty fee of over 70,000 kina collectively and were released by ICA with warnings to fix the discrepancies. According to the Immigration and Citizenship Authority, the key witness, a non-citizen, has been cooperating with the authorities to close the gaps in the investigation. Meanwhile, ICA's Chief Migration Officer, Stanis Hulahau, is appealing to illegal foreigners in the country to voluntarily surrender themselves. And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina will buy $0.2775 US, $0.3783 Australian dollars, $0.2289 euro, and 29.78 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee and copra closed lower, and cocoa closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 282.12 points lower. The ASX 200 is trading at 7.23 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 1.54 points lower. National EMTV News continues with more stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. The SME Corporation ended its Highlands Regional Training on a high note in Mount Hagen recently. Participants were micro, small to medium entrepreneurs who graduated with certificates in Start and Improve Your Business programs. Rachel Marape, the wife of Prime Minister James Marape, was the guest of honor.
The 50 participants are micro, small to medium entrepreneurs from the 7 Highlands provinces that were trained to be competitive and be creative in the world of business. They've also created a roadmap to help SMAC and the Department of Commerce and Industry to align impact projects successfully. All they need is the support of the local and provincial governments to help them involve in different SME roles such as spice downstreaming, honey production, agriculture and livestock, fisheries and such.
Behind the efforts of coordinating successfully impact projects that we need to assist provinces.
The national government has made available 200 million kina for the MSME program. 100 million kina was allocated to BSP and 80 million kina to NDB for SMEs to acquire loans. SMAC Managing Director Petrus Ralder says SMAC has reviewed its SME policies and re-strategizing its programs, taking a bottom-up approach so that the 85% of the people in the rural sector benefit. Such trainings will help MSMEs to have a savings culture and building capacity in people and its businesses.
We want to see that people's lives have changed. The way of thinking, somebody does not like, I can put in a mouse, they had to mouth, life must be stopped. Changing thinking normal so that they can change, see the difference between a personal obligation and a business obligation.
Meanwhile, the MSMEs are requesting SMAC and commercial banks to relax their requirement processes and policies so that these 85% of the rural population can have access to the 200 million kina funding.
The entrepreneur should look for 80% while the bank will assist 20%. How is this going to work?
SMAC Board Chairman John Pora says such government programs and investments will help MSMEs to remove the argument of poverty and be demand-driven.
Stop sowing into the minds of your children that they do not deserve to be wealthy in this country, that they do not deserve to be prosperous, that the only thing they can do is work for money. Money is not their boss. Don't educate them. Programs like the Train of Trainers, the investment that we're making in this, is to empower you to go and change the language in Papua New Guinea's history.
Guest of honor Rachel Marape is involving in a prison camp program with women inmates by offering financial literacy programs and services to them. She is urging SMAC and MSMEs to partner with microbanks whose services are fast and reliable. A similar training program was conducted in Bougainville and the New Guinea Islands region, which saw 47 participants graduated with the TOT certificates. Vasanatha Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The UN Women signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance yesterday. The partnership will come under the UN Women's Women Make the Change program to support and promote women's political participation and leadership in the country. The signing will see the establishment of the first political leadership academy for women in Papua New Guinea.
To make sure that we protect.
The Political Leadership Academy for Women will work closely with a small group of women in each cycle to provide those who are already in sub-national political positions with training, skills building, mentorship and learning exchange opportunities.
This country cannot really advance without women in its governance structures. They have given us an opportunity to implement a program. It's a 4-year program, and we are actually now in the 3rd year of implementation. And this program is called the Women Make Change.
According to the UN Women Program Women Make That Change, the new partnership is expected to contribute to a growing pool of qualified and capable women political leaders in the country. According to the program, since 1975, PNG has had only 7 women elected into the national parliament in comparison to approximately 800 men.
It's an ambitious program to ensure that women join all the levels of political governance in the country, starting from council levels right up to parliament.
Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance CEO Michael Barobet thanked the UN Women under its Women Make the Change program in PNG for creating such an opportunity that will empower women to participate meaningfully in the socio-economic and political discourse of this country.
Women need to grow, have to rise up. In other countries that we will see, women have become prime ministers. Women have become key ministers. So that's why PNG also looking towards modernization. We have to modernize ourselves in terms of politics.
Podivai, National EMTV News.
Day 2 of the New Ireland Education Expo saw more interaction between students and higher education institutions. Principal of Mangai Agro Secondary School, John Tokmun, says the expo has opened the mindset of students to focus on their career pathways. Mr. Tokmun says though some schools did not attend, they hope the information gathered will be shared among other schools in the province. He says the Education Expo is helpful not just for students but teachers as well.
So far, so good. It's just the beginning. The program could have been better, but as it is so far, we're enjoying. The students are enjoying. We're already thinking of evaluating this program, and then later on maybe plan a bigger and better one next year for our students. So for New Ireland, this is the first of its kind, and I hope and I believe that many of our students, with the kind of information given to them, they will make right choices, especially for our grade 12s this year. For this month now, I think around 28th of this month, August, they'll be given their password and their username and whatnot to go into the national online application system. That is provided by DHEST. So it is very, very important, and they're privileged to have these institutions here to help them. So I would like to take this time on behalf of all the principals, all my colleague principals from all our secondary schools to first of all thank our education division in our social sector in the province, the chair lady, Dr. Malpo, even our CEO for Education, Mr. Benson Apelis, and also our Director for Education, Mr. Wesley Siangate, and all the principals and everybody else who have took part in organizing.
Chukai Sports is next. All the details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. It hasn't been the season the Goroka Lahanis had hoped for, but the team is content with their performance, boasting a young side.
The Bintango Goroka Lahanis have fallen on hard times over the past 2 years, finishing well outside of the qualifying finals of the Digicel Cup. The Pride of Eastern Highlands this season finished 9th out of 12 teams in the competition. The team, made up of up-and-coming talent from the Eastern Highlands province, bowed out of the 2021 season with a convincing 22 points to 16 victory over the Gulf Isos on Sunday.
Today's match, it reflects the preparation. The message for the week is not to get a wooden spoon. If we lose, we'll most likely go to the last. So that's the message, and they learned and they grabbed the message. They train hard for that game, and win. We accept that win, and it reflects back to our training.
Current Lahanis coach Gonzale Urakusi, who had lifted the cup in 2018 as the captain of the Goroka Lahanis, has now become a mentor to the current crop of players. Urakusi says it is totally different from being a player, and what he has as experience doesn't really sink in well with the players. but he says the basics has become the foundation of the team's rebuild.
One thing that I found out in the young squad compared to the experience during this year, I try to give what I know to the boys, but it's more complicated. And then I try to get rid of what I know and go back to basics. I see that the team is picking up, so it's late, and we find that formula and come back next year. We'll keep that and keep going. Like going back to the basics, yeah.
Fidelis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues with more after these short messages. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. West Eagles have proven they're the team to beat as they defeated Koboni 54-34 in round 4 of the Port Moresby AFL Men's A-grade division.
The game of the round in Port Moresby AFL's competition was between heavyweights, West Eagles and Koboni, taking place last weekend at the Colts Oval. With both teams containing national representative players in their squads, the match lived up to expectations as both teams set out to impose their dominance on the game. From the opening quarter, West were in the driver's seat, controlling the pace of the game. By halftime, the Eagles had a commanding lead, 32 points to 8 over Koboni. The Eagles seemed to be scoring at will, while Koboni were unable to match their pace and intensity. Koboni did themselves no favors, wasting their goal-scoring opportunities. In the final 2 quarters, Koboni muscled up in defense, starving West of possession, and finally converting their goal-scoring opportunities in front of the post. But it was a case of too little too late for Koboni, who couldn't close the margin, as West outclassed their rivals, securing a 54-34 point victory.
Boys display a brilliant type of skills in the game this afternoon. I feel like I'm watching the grand final this afternoon. Everyone really work together and display some good skills, technique in the field. But through leadership na all this lakan, I thank Jeff Hardy Wogai for stepping up and lead by example. And he's all over the place, getting hard marks and kicking some good kicking accuracy skills from him that drive the ball forward for the forward line to score.
Huxley Lovai, Trukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Cloudy with possible patchy rain drizzles in Port Moresby. Possible squally showers, then partly cloudy weather in Daru. Possible patchy rain drizzles and cloudy in Kerema. Easing rain showers and possible thunderstorms in Alotau, and rain drizzles, then cloudy periods in Popondetta. In the Momasi region, cloudy with possible light showers and drizzles in Leh. Mostly fine though, partly cloudy in Medang. Some showers and thunderstorms easing in Wewak and Tuanimore. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine weather in Lorengau, Kavieng and Kokopo, Rabaul and Buka, and mostly fine, then partly cloudy weather after in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, rainy periods easing, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday, 18th of August, 2021. Until next time, pleasant viewing, be safe and good night.